What is the crack? How are we doing? I am going to do a bit of a different thing for you today. You will have seen the vlog gone out already in regards to the speed experiment, but today, because a lot of you will know, I have torn my ACL and had ACL surgery, so I'm going to take you through what my rehab looks like on day 12 of rehabilitation. Obviously you can probably see I'm doing pretty well so far, so I thought I'd give you some insight into what I've been doing for the last 12 days, what I am currently doing, and my plans for getting back on my feet as early as I possibly can. So I'm in the gym, pretty quiet gym at the moment, which is great, and I'm just going to go through my flexion extension exercises to start. I'm going to go through some foot mobility. I'm going to go through starting to load the knee and starting to load the quad, and a few other bits and pieces around the lateral hip, and probably some conditioning, get on the bike as well. I'm going to take you through the whole lot, so hopefully there'll be some insight in there for others going through the ACL rehabilitation progress. But yeah, just get into it. Right, so I'll talk you through what I'm doing. This is just your basic flexion extension drills that you'd be given from any physio post ACL surgery, and probably from whatever clinic that you're given. However, I've loaded them with bands over the last couple of weeks, because if you're just doing the mobility and trying to regain the range of motion, it's very hard to progress it unless you have some sort of external resistance. Even though there's not much in the bands, it helps initially with assistance pulling in, but then there's a little bit of resistance on the way pushing out. Initially, obviously, with your activation or quad activation exercises, you're going to do it unloaded. And I've been using the Compex for electrical stimulation, which has been useful to get the activation back in to the quad. But once you've regained full extension, which I'm pretty sure I have already, then you're going to want to start loading the quad. And that's why I've kind of fashioned this banded setup where I am getting a little bit of load through the front of the quad, but it's not in a very deep range. It's quite shallow range of motion, but I'll progress it day by day, week on week. And then you're trying to hit the knee joint in multiple different planes of motion, I suppose. So all of these are anterior. We're hitting mainly quad, whereas you will see in the one where I have the cone underneath my foot, that's more hitting the posterior a little bit. It's still knee flexion and extension, but the load is coming and is active concentrically through the hamstring, and then I'm letting it go out eccentrically as well through the hamstring. I'm going to do a bit of hip extension later on as well. I'm going to progress today with my hip extension to probably a single leg hip thrust, which I haven't done yet. I've been just doing double leg glute bridges. And what you saw earlier with the calf raises, initially you're doing them with the band as well, but after a while that's going to get pretty old, and it's going to start to get easy. So you go single leg, and then I've loaded up on the Smith machine there today, just to provide a little bit of external load. I'm going to do some isometrics as well. So it's not rocket science really, it's nothing too dynamic, because as I said, I'm only 12 days post, but progressing it slightly every single session, I think, has paid dividends in me getting back my function quite quickly. And I will talk you through timeline for what I've been able to do while we're doing it as well. As I said, this is my first day of loaded calf raises, and it is a bit of a challenge, but not too much of a challenge. As you can see, I'm getting up as tall as I can, trying to load it eccentrically into a deeper range of ankle dorsiflexion by going from the elevated box, and I've just progressed that day by day really. I'm hitting these 3 to 4 times a day, unloaded obviously until now. And these will be recommended in just about any ACL rehabilitation program. You can even see there the reduced inhibition around my left side compared to my right, and that I'm much quicker to do it. There's less guarding of that limb, and as a result I fly through it. So 3 sets, 3 to 4 times a day, simple as. And here is more flexion extension, but with loading the hamstring a little bit more. This has got really easy over the last few days. You're just trying to get the range of motion back into that knee, which is going to come with the reduction in swelling as well. And I've been using a Game Ready ice machine to assist with that. I've been using that like 6 to 8 times a day. I actually used it before I came. And then the electrical stimulation then just to allow my nervous system to fire a little bit easier and get comfortable firing the quad and around the knee. And I think that's really helped me to get back my extension early, to be honest. I did do a lot of work in the gym prior to the surgery, which would have helped, but I think post-surgery in the first couple of weeks, it's crucial to get on top of all this stuff, because it really means you can push the rehab later on down the line. These isometrics. I've progressed today to single leg for the first time. I was doing double leg, just elevating my heel off the ground in a glute bridge position and really loading that soleus, obviously with the plantar flexion, so pushing my toe down into the ground and accumulating about a volume of 3 minutes cumulatively per day. But now obviously going single leg unilaterally, I'm not going to be able to unload that affected limb at all, which is going to be good for it. But you can see that I was doing these pre-surgery as well, so I'm quite strong in them, and holding for 30 seconds is no joke. I often give these to athletes post ACL because they'll have a bit of calf soleus inhibition and there'll be a bit of muscle wastage there. I have actually thrown the complex onto the calf as well, and it's been interesting for sure. Pairing that with some lateral hip stuff and flying through it. Really, to be honest, I need more bands because this band is too easy, but I have more bands coming on Monday, I believe, Monday or Tuesday. I know you're looking at my backside there, but what I've actually noticed a lot on these as well is my unaffected leg, my left glute med abductors are quite weak, and that's probably the remnants of my previous ACL. So when we say injury is an opportunity, we mean like you almost get to do an audit of your whole body, and when you do an audit of your whole body, you figure out that there are some weak points or weak links in the chain, and you get to address them. So I wouldn't have seen that deficit as much. I knew there was a bit of a deficit there, but I wouldn't have seen it as much if I hadn't been injured. So it's an opportunity to focus on the lateral hip. I can feel my left burning already here now, and try and get both sides strong over the course of this rehab. That is tough. I won't be long regaining my range of motion on my knee if I get very strong at that and I pull the foot back every single day, which is what I'll be aiming to do. You can see on my left side there, I actually pull the knee into deep flexion so that I can get more soleus activation, because obviously the more flexed your knee, the more likelihood that you're going to not completely only activate your soleus, but you might get more activation in it, and fighting to keep your heel high on that as well. You might get the shakes when you do it. So 3 sets is what I've been doing 3 times a day, 4 times sometimes, but mainly 3 the last while when I've added more volume of exercises, and it's been working, I think. So finished with those. I'm going to go on to, actually no, I have my isos to do, but I'm going to do them. And then following the isos, I'm on to some more lateral hip work and some quad isometrics as well. Single leg as well, I've progressed on that. And these I've added in for the last 3-4 days, maybe longer actually. But I've started to get a little bit of range of motion into them, and I'm really feeling them in the patella, because I had a patellar graft, so that's normal. I remember the first ACL tear that I had, I wasn't sure if that pressure in the knee was normal, but I'm pretty sure it is. It's just a symptom of that graft. 30 seconds on that is fucking no joke, let me tell you. excuse the French. And then just even it up by doing the other side as well. No harm, considering I had ACL reconstruction on this side too. You can see that side starting to shake actually. Mainly coming from the calf, I think. But I've been going 3 sets to 2 on this because obviously I've been able to get into deeper range of motion on this leg at the knee, which is obviously going to load a little bit more quad, and in that position where the patella is going to get and feel a little bit angry if you have a tendinopathy. Okay, finishing up the session with a little bit of bike. The longest I've been able to tolerate on the bike so far has been 10 minutes. So we'll see how we go here. Feels pretty good. Feels like I'm getting more range of motion back in, more flexion, which is great. 12 days post, like you can't give out really, because this is as good as it's going to get really. My last ACL surgery, I wasn't at this stage, I would say 4 weeks plus after. So really happy with how things are going. Okay, so that session was really successful. Well, it was successful, I would say, but I probably have quite high standards. Everything's feeling easier. The gait drills, bending the knee, I'm getting more flexion into the knee and more loading into the knee, which is great. Adding in the single leg hip thrust was huge, given that I've only done double leg glute bridges till now. Now I have loaded them with, I think, 12 or 14 kilos is the heaviest I've loaded on them. But even going unloaded, 3 sets of 15, huge. As well as the Swiss wall squat, even though that's completely unloaded in terms of additional weight, there is some load going through the knee, and I'm just trying not to push it too far. So I did 3 sets of 12 on that. And if I can start to get full range of motion on that soon, then there'll be no issue me loading in a goblet position soon as well. So really happy with that. He's feeling good on this bike, to be honest, so I'm really happy with that. Starting to walk with less of a limp, which is a positive. And the calf raises on the Smith machine with a little bit of external resistance was added in as well, so that's positive too. I think it's just the 3 of those exercises that I've added in, but I've got more range of motion on the isometric on the wall, and I'm feeling pretty good, so I'm really positive about the whole thing. So I'm going to stay on this bike for, well, I don't know how long I'm going to stay on it. I've done 10 minutes so far as the maximum amount of time I've been able to tolerate. I would say I'm going to go between 15 and 20 minutes on it, not to go completely overboard and double my volume all of a sudden. There's very little resistance on it. But yeah, I'll see how I feel and take the win. So in ACL rehab, it's not always going to be linear, but you have to give yourself a pat on the back when you do come into the gym and you do have a session like today where it went really, really well. Feeling pretty good and things are going in the right direction. My knee is starting to look like a knee again, which is really positive. And I think the icing with the game ready, I think the complex, the electrical stimulation, muscle stimulation has been fast, and yeah, like I'm really, really positive. There's very few that will feel this good after 12 days. So I'm in that top probably 1%, which is savage. And no rocket science really, just progressive overload. Yeah, progressively challenging the body to adapt while looking after it from a recovery standpoint. And that is not just in those recovery tools, but it's also prioritizing my sleep. Started taking magnesium prior to bed, eating my couple of kiwis, being very consistent with that before bed, and getting to bed at a regular hour and getting up at a regular hour, which I was doing anyway, but I've been even more anal or on top of that, I'd say, since the surgery, and it's obviously paying dividends. So nutrition has been good, sleep has been good, training has been good, everything's been good so far. I know that it's not always going to be good, there will be mishaps down the line, but I know that I'll be able to overcome them. I just have to remember that I've got through this before and I'll get through it again, and yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing. So hopefully you've enjoyed this short vlog. I don't know how long to short it's going to be, but if you have liked it, I'll bring more of them back and give you more insights into my ACL rehab as we go on. And like the podcast, I hope you like this. If you're not subscribed, subscribe for more videos. And if you did like it, please remember to like it, share it, and send it.